My name is Scott Lovett. I'm a federal program director for a company out of Duluth, Georgia called ACS Group, and I'm 40 years old. Cars are probably my number one hobby, so I'll try and race as much as I can, track cars. I do a lot of instruction, and I like to work on cars. I coach cheerleading at Tech, so I also do that. Way back in the day when I went to Tech, I actually played drums, so I still play drums. Not as much as I used to, again, because cars have taken over my life.
How did you get into coaching?
Cars. I was in the band at Tech, and we were at a bowl game. Tech went to some bowl game in Miami, and the band went down, the cheerleaders went down, and one of the guys who was on the cheer squad was really into cars, so we got talking about cars, and we became really good friends. And then a couple months later, he convinced me to be a cheerleader. So then I tried out, and I cheered for Tech for 3 years. And then fast forward 15 years later, I moved back to Atlanta, and the first people I reached out to were cheerleaders because they were all on the team. We're all teammates. And one of them actually happened to be coaching here. He's like, come on by practice. And I came by practice a couple days, and he's like, so what do you think? Want to coach? And I was like, okay. It's all because I got in an argument over cars with a dude in Miami. So, I've got a whole bunch of smart light bulbs. So the Philips Hue stuff is pretty cool because you can dim them, you can change the colors. I've got them on timers. I travel a lot for work, so they'll come on randomly to pretend that somebody's home. I don't know if you're familiar with the concept or not, but you take innocuous devices, light switches, thermostats, and you connect them to the internet. And it's great because they can talk to you in apps, but they're even more powerful when they talk to each other. I like a lot of technology, and I like when it works. Bluetooth audio, for example, it should be standard, and it should always work. And I've gotten in plenty of rental cars where I simply could not figure out why. It keeps going, I just want music. Having it work so well that you don't notice the technology is there, but it brings you all of that capability. So the navigation system, right? And the salesman's like, oh, this is great. If you're looking for a restaurant, you just hit the voice button and you go, it says, boop, boop, I'm hungry, and it'll show you restaurants. So one day I'm driving down the street and I'm like, I need a gas station. And I hit the button, I'm like, gas stations. And the car was like, showing you shopping malls. No. I'm like, gas station. And it's like, showing you post offices. No. Boom, boom. Gas station. Showing you restaurants. Now I've got this screen full of crap, and I can't get rid of it because it was completely unintuitive. The technology didn't work. It worked if you knew certain phrases that you had written down on a little, I'm going to tell the customers, say, you know what I mean? So that stuff drives me nuts.
How many cars do you own?
I was terrified for this question.
Wow.
6 cars and a motorcycle. You want the whole list?
Yeah.
So my everyday car is a Ford F-150. Also serves double duty because it pulls the trailer for my race car. I have a Porsche 911 that's kind of like a fun car. I have an old Volkswagen GTI that when I graduated Tech and motorsports, it was my first project that I bought and restored the whole thing. And I have an old Corvette, 1968 Corvette convertible, but it needs restoration. So right now it's kind of like a piece of junk sitting in the garage. That's 4. I have a motorcycle called, it's just a little motorcycle I use for getting around the city. So, which is awesome at Tech because you don't have to pay for parking. And then I have 2 race cars. I have an E36 BMW that it's an M3 that is dedicated for track use. I have a Generation 5 retired Tony Stewart NASCAR. And there's probably some deeper psychological study to be had here, but I like the German products a lot. I like the Porsche and the BMWs. By far, to me, have been the best vehicles for a number of reasons. A, because I think their engineering is superior. The Germans are a more analytical culture, and I think even the interiors of the cars kind of represent that mindset. Everything is purpose-driven, everything is very logical. In contrary, I was just over in Germany, and I had rented an Alfa Romeo, which is an Italian car. That car felt great because, it was all emotionally driven, whereas the German cars are very logically performance-driven. So that's why I'm kind of tied to more of the German stuff. One of the things that I joke around about is I pay attention to the interiors a lot more than most people do because that's where you sit in the car all the time. I don't think certain manufacturers pay enough attention to that. I would love to say, this is like a blanket statement based on design and technology. I think technology and design are often 2 separate things, and that drives me nuts. And the Alfa Romeo Stelvio was what I had. They did an amazing job combining technology with a beautiful interior. You sit in the car, you go, someone thought about this, someone had emotion, someone thought about how it feels versus just how it works, and it works well. And there's not enough car companies that are doing that. I think it's too separate. Does everything else in my life remain the same? Like, I've still got to get to work. I've still got to do all that. I'm not like independently wealthy living on an island. I'd have to keep the truck. It gets me through life. I can buy stuff from Home Depot. I can drive in bad weather, like the other cars. Start with the American stuff, like the truck, right? It's simple, it's dependable, and it works every time. Like, there's never a question. I get in that truck, it starts up, it's comfortable enough, but it does everything that it's designed to do 100% of the time. At my age, after all the cars that I've owned, after all the places I've been and things that I've done, I want something like that. I want something that works, that also has a little bit of emotion involved in it. But I'm an emotional person, so maybe that's just me. But I've heard people say, like, you know you're a car person if, like, you get to a parking lot, you lock your car, you turn around, you go to walk towards a store, and you kind of stop and turn around. Oh yeah, that's my car, right? And it goes that way with anything in life, whether it's, you know, your house or, you know, whatever else you're into. But for me, I get that feeling. There's some love that ties you to it, and it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's a pickup truck or a Ferrari or a Volkswagen Beetle.